This is Rashawn Slater, first round draft pick for the LA Chargers, and you're listening to the Charged Up Bolts podcast. Bolt up.
Hello and welcome back to the Charged Up Bolts podcast. I'm your guy at Adroit Airs, hashtag Audible Chocolate, and I'm here in the Herbert Hangar. And this podcast, we're going to review and preview all the latest and greatest in Chargers news. Joining me today are my esteemed colleagues from across the pond. How are we doing, Bez?
Oh, mate, it's the dream. I'm buzzing. I'm in a great mood. You know, Boris is about to lock us down here. The world's ending, but the Chargers won, so that's all that matters.
Love to hear it. Love to feel it. Okay. And from the apparently unabashed positivity of Elliot Bermudez, we go back to my boy, John Waz Jr. How's it going, Waz?
All good, mate. I can smell. What's that smell? W. Yes, I can smell victory. We're going to roll those Chiefs on the back of a nice little comfortable win on Sunday night. Feeling very optimistic.
I think we're all in Bolt Nation feeling very optimistic. I'm obviously charged up and ready to go. This is an exciting time. We've won two in a row, or on the kick, on the boot. What do you guys say over there?
Two on the bounce. Two on the bounce.
Two on the bounce. Okay, two on the bounce. Okay. So we've got two on the bounce. We've got two good wins in a row, two dominant wins in a row, if you ask me, which is really not sure how to handle that. I actually got a text message from my good buddy, and he was like, hey, I don't know how to handle this game when we're easily ahead and there's no chance of us losing for an entire game. And I said, I don't know either. I'm just waiting for the refs to come out with some sort of obscure rule to disqualify us or something, because it's odd for the Chargers to have two really big wins in a row like this and look comfortable in their skin. So, you know, what do we think is the reasoning for these two dominant wins? Not just level of competition. Obviously the Giants aren't exactly a great team, but the Bengals are a hot team. They're a team who's been up and down as well. That wasn't necessarily an easy win. So Bez, I'll start with you. What do you think has been the contributing factor in that dominant win of the Giants, as well as the last two game win streak we were on?
Mate, it's the Staley factor, isn't it? And the Herbert factor combined. It was the mesh that we were excited about this offseason. We you know, some of us thought it was going to be a sophomore slump and need to eat our hats. It's just not happening. He's just an absolutely fantastic QB. And the big thing I'm excited about, we knew about Herbert. We knew about what he could do, and he's delivering. He's being backed up by a head coach. And the most exciting thing is that there were big holes in our team earlier in the season. There were problems. We were giving up run after run, just being dominated. And all of a sudden, he's turned it around. You can see the difference the coaching's made, the schemes are making. Even when Derwin James isn't on the field, we're able to win those matchups. I mean, just take a look at the two things, the D-line's improvement and Michael Davis in the secondary, who had apart from one late touchdown, had a great game. So I'm really thinking Staley's going to be able to just add that extra, continuously supporting Herbert with his D. It's exciting.
All right, Waz, what about you? What do you think has been the biggest factor in the last two games?
I think because we've had some roller coaster up and downs throughout the season, I think players now are starting to find their rhythm, and some players that are coming in to fill the gaps of the regular starters are taking their chance. We saw that with Palmer at the weekend. And I'll echo what Bess says. I think Brandon Staley is really good at lifting up his players and preparing them. We get upset as Chargers fans when Herbert, is getting held to 3 and 4 yard passes. We get upset when Keenan Allen's not scoring regularly or getting 100-yard games. But this is the NFL. We got upset when Big Ben mounted a comeback against the Chargers. The NFL is super, super competitive. With the odd team that the Jets and the Jaguars, teams are going to come and play football. They play hard, they play physical, but we've been able to get over that hump through the difficult times, and I think there'll be another defeat on the way at some point
This week.
It's just having that belief, and wherever you've got Justin Herbert under center, that's going to give you 2 to 3% lift. It's got to mentally. It's got to. I think with Phillip Rivers, we saw this. He wasn't the most mobile, but he competed. He was a winner. He wouldn't let people sit around feeling sorry for themselves. We talk about the fact that Chris Harris Jr. hasn't played well. But when you go behind the scenes, you listen to the narrative, you listen to what people are saying. He's coaching people. Same with Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen's been talking to Palmer all season about doing the right things. And I'm not going to start saying it's coming together because we're going to go on a Super Bowl run, but it's coming together in people are now starting to find a bit of confidence in their own ability. Joey Bosa, we're all worried about him against the Bengals. He left the game early. Then he comes and plays like a stud against the Giants. People are starting to step up to the plate. They're being held accountable, and they want to play for this team. It's as simple as that. I'm sick of all this crap about Chargers not having any fans. Boring. Go away, please. Please just go away, because I don't care what anybody says. We've got the best quarterback in the NFL. And there's one sour note on this season. Forget our record, forget the ups and downs. Not one established journalist or ex-pro or coach has got the kahunas to say that Herbert is the best player in the league right now. I'm saying it. I don't care.
Do you know what? I don't disagree with anything you said, but did you have to throw so much shade on the Jets and the Jaguars sneaking it in halfway through?
Come on, John. What about you? You've heard about.
I think the biggest contributing factor in all of this is something that you guys haven't mentioned at all, and it has nothing to do with a coach or a player. Really, there's not a single player or a single coach that has to do with what's happening right now. For me, the one thing that is the difference is time. It's just simply time. It took this team time to get together. New offensive coordinator, new defensive philosophy, some new bodies in there. They needed time to gel. They needed time to figure things out. And they needed time to get healthy, some of them, right? And I think what we're seeing is the fruits of those labor. There's a lot of pundits out there. I take them all with a grain of salt. All of them have good takes. All of them have bad takes. All of them have to come up with some sort of take to get that money and get that paid sponsorship ad. So, I take them for, salt. But some of the stuff they do say is really smart. One of the guys I like to listen to, again, he's a bit of a hot air guy, but Colin Cowherd, he's an enjoyable listen in the morning. He likes to say that most teams, especially when they go through a major change, don't judge them until Thanksgiving. Up until you get to about Thanksgiving, teams are still figuring new stuff out when they have a change in coaching, coordinator, player personnel, whatever, right? And I think that kind of has borne itself out here. I think the time together under Staley's new system, the defense is finally figuring it out. I think they're finally figuring out, hey, where do we need to be on defense? Who needs to be covering where? How do we rotate in and out, right? I think some health is helping, right? Having Linval and Justin Jones together on that line, I think is massive. I think having the opportunity to give Bosa a little bit of help on the edge with Nwosu finally figuring it out. Also, some of those other guys filling in, being rotational guys, I think that's also very helpful. So I think that for all in all, I think the results recently have been a product of just them spending time together, learning the system, getting comfortable with it. And I'm excited to see how they put it together moving forward. Because honestly, what we saw against the Giants, we should see that week in and week out against bad teams. That's what good teams do. Good teams put away bad teams 100%. Easily, right? And that's not always been the case. The Chargers have been known to play down to their competition. That's not what happened this last weekend. That's not what happened, right? They played up and elevated over their competition. So, obviously it was a really encouraging, really great win that I think we're all excited for. Everybody is just gushing over that Herbert throw, right? I mean, that is the throw of the year, just such an elite thing. I mean, you've got, I've got that Arlovsky guy who apparently hates Justin Herbert. He wants to talk about Joe Burrow and Matthew Stafford instead. I don't know what the heck his problem is. Maybe he's just, honestly, I think he's just one of those guys who's like, look, I'm going to say something about somebody else because it makes me look like a contrarian and I can get a little bit extra press, whatever. Maybe he loves the hate, but I mean, trying to compare that Matthew Stafford throw, I don't know if you've seen that today. He tried to compare a Matthew Stafford throw from last night to Herbert's. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. Stafford did do that. But number one, he wasn't evading the pressure and about to get hit like Stafford was. Number two, what the time of release from Herbert's hand into the leading hands of Guyton, not the same. You can definitely see the pep and the zip on the ball that Herbert throws. And number three, look at the defenses that they're in. You had a single high safety against Stafford. He basically had his guy run around the safety, who was the only coverage there, who initially, by the way, was covering one of the out routes and then had to switch over to the guy going deep. So again, he's throwing against one safety. He threw to a side of him, whatever. That's an okay throw. Herbert had two split high safeties lined up 15 plus yards away from the line of scrimmage. Those two guys are split there to purposely say, hey, look, you're not throwing it deep down the middle on us. It is not going to happen. And what happened? He threw a bullet, a laser between both safeties, nailed Guyton going forward, and dropped it in the basket. Guyton didn't have to do anything to catch that throw. He basically put his arms out and tried not to drop it. That's all he did. The receiver for Stafford had to come back and make a play on the ball. Again, not comparable. Okay. What Justin Herbert does is just amazing. And I cannot wait to see what he does against the Chiefs, which is my professional segue into. Let's talk about the Chiefs game. All right. Thursday night football, prime time at SoFi. Chiefs, Chargers. This one, for all intents and purposes, is kind of for the division, right? I mean, if the Chargers win this game, they now have the season sweep on the Chiefs, meaning the Chargers would have to lose 2 of their last 3 games. That's against the hapless Houston Texans. That's against the Raiders, who've looked completely awful over the last 3 games, and against the Broncos at home in SoFi. Chargers versus Broncos in Denver, always sketchy. Chargers versus Broncos in California, usually a much better result. So I'm predicting of those last 3 games, they win at least 2 of those 3, if not 3 of 3, meaning if they beat Kansas City, they will most likely be the AFC West division champions. That is a bonkers dream. I could not have fathomed that to begin the season. So my question for you guys, what's going to happen on Thursday night? Waz.
You don't want to listen.
Uh-oh.
So I don't know why, and it's not because I hate the Chiefs more than the Raiders or Denver, but I always feel more confident when we play the Chiefs. Remember last season I said that we'd sweep them. We almost did it, and I gave the reason for.
You said a 50 burger.
I'm just going for a 60 this time. Okay, let's just get on to this. Look, we're going to win in overtime. Okay, but there's a twist. Mr. Hopkins is going to pull a hammy. Field goal is going to win the game, and he ain't going to kick it. Somebody's coming in. Somebody's coming in. Hearts are going to be stopped. There's going to be people in those stands having a freaking heart attack. Somebody's going to step up and whack that ball straight through the uprights, and it ain't going to be Mr. Hopkins. How's about that?
Who's it going to be? Bring Joey Bosa on.
Well, you know, I was thinking about this on the way home from work. I need to have a really, really crazy bold state. I thought it can't be Justin Herbert. Maybe Derwin James will come and do it. One of those 2 guys could probably play any position on the field. I don't know.
Dan King out of nowhere.
Look, I do think we're generally going to win in overtime. I just got this feeling, and I thought I'll just throw a little bit of spice in there. Field goal to win the game, and it ain't going to be Hopkins.
It's a spicy take.
That's a lot. I don't even know how to react to that. I'm literally speechless. Bez, please have a little bit of more positivity and reality, please, because I don't understand what just happened right now.
All right, okay. I'll bring some reality. I'll bring some facts and spit out. Here's what I'm going to do here. Let me just grab this balloon, get a pin. It's been popped. We're getting defeated. We're getting beaten. The Chiefs are going to beat us. Yeah.
Get out of here.
Look, I think that we're going to beat the Broncos and the Raiders. I think our playoff path is clear, and that we're going to be a wildcard team, the best of the rest, the 5th seed in the league, very likely playing the Ravens and then the Patriots as our route to the Super Bowl. I think that is almost nailed on. I just think at this, we're getting better. Do not underestimate missing what's his name? Rashawn Slater at left tackle. Do not underestimate the fact that the Chiefs are starting to get their own momentum. And although they might have beaten some underperforming teams, they absolutely massacred the Raiders. And I thought they looked good. I thought Mahomes was starting to look like Mahomes of his Super Bowl run years. I think it will be a shootout. I think we're going to see high scoring. I think we're going to have to see Bosa absolutely take it to Mahomes. And I think that little bit of experience, not to put a downer on it, we're going to perform well. We're just going to miss out. It'll be a positive. We will definitely then win the last we'll then definitely win the last couple of games. Who are we playing? We're playing Raiders last, aren't we?
Yes.
Broncos before them. And who's in between?
Texans.
That's it, Texans. So you've got a free win I don't want to take it for granted, but the Giants win has made me realize exactly as John said at the intro. We played up finally. We're not getting dragged down to their level, and I think that's an easy win with 2 good divisional wins. Don't overreact when we lose a close game. I just think it's going to be close, but we're going to miss
Is
out.
that a new hat? You're gonna be eating it, boy.
All right. Well, just saw a comment coming here from our loyal listener, Michael Snow. Thank you, Michael, for contributing, asking if anybody's going to be available with all the COVID going around. And that is a big concern here. Yesterday, everyone's making a big deal out of the fact that yesterday, 37 players popped for COVID, one of the largest numbers of the season. Obvious that whatever, I don't know what the variant's called. Omnicron, Omnivent, whatever it's called.
Transformers variant.
The transfer, yeah, exactly. It's not good. Okay, it's not good.
It's the license to print money variant.
All right, politics away. Okay. Anyways, with that going around, obviously more and more people are popping positive. We've got Rashawn Slater, who again still possibly could play, but the fact that he tested positive is very, very scary. As far as one, health, hopefully he's got mild symptoms. He probably should because he's vaccinated. But 2, the chances of him playing are pretty unlikely in the Thursday. If it were a Sunday game, I'd say we've got a good shot of him playing. But a Thursday game is going to be hard. And then Chris Jones for the Chiefs also popping on that. So potentially could or could not play. That is big, right? It kind of helps us because again, our that's a big pressure that they've been getting. He's been a big reason that they're that over the last 6 weeks they've had one of the top 5 to 10 defenses in the league. Is his play. They moved him from the end back into kind of the middle. And I think that they've done a great job of really adjusting their defenses to what their strengths are, and they've done a good job. So that is scary. But I think at the end of the day, we need to consider okay, who's going to be out there in the field. So Joe Lombardi having his press conference while we're doing this, and he said Trey Pipkins is taking all the left tackle snaps. Just all I can't even. So there's definitely the possibility that we're looking at Pipkins Norton right and left tackle situation. This could get really ugly. So I don't, as much as I'd like to say, we're going to have a shootout here, I don't know if we are. To be honest, the Chiefs' offense has been playing poorly. Their one real big game is against the Raiders, who again, same team that they beat up for 40 points a couple weeks before. Yeah. Obviously, the Raiders don't know how to call a defense. It's almost as if their defensive coordinator says, "Hey, I'm just going to run the same defense every game, no matter what." It's weird. Huh? Anyways, so they obviously are blowing up against them, but everybody else over the entire season, they've had trouble scoring on. So I think our defense is playing well and they're pretty healthy. So I think they have a good chance of keeping that Chiefs defense from scoring a lot. My worry is that we're not going to be able to score to answer. So I think it's actually going to be a close game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout from either side. And I don't think it's a high scoring game. I just don't think
That's
so.
That's quite a bold call, to be fair.
I honestly, I might bet the under. It depends on what the under is right now, but I just think missing Slater, I think what we've seen so far of all the guys who've missed time, besides Herbert, the most important player on the offensive side of the ball besides Herbert is Slater. Him and Lindsley have done such a great job protecting Herbert and giving this offense opportunity and time to take deep shots. That Guyton play doesn't necessarily happen if you've got no contain whatsoever. Yes, he had to roll out the throw, so maybe it does happen. I don't know, but it's tough because online, Steve Hagelin online mentioned that people need to be prepared for a lot of short, quick throws on Thursday. And if Slater is out, that's exactly what's going to happen. A lot of underneath stuff, a lot of quick throws. Unfortunately, we're going to see a lot of those god-awful wide receiver screens. It's just going to happen. So
Jared I don't Cook's think going to be busy helping out on the edge there. Blocking.
Yeah, when he's paying attention.
When he's paying attention.
I honestly, hopefully Parham can feast. I think he's the guy they should get involved. He can catch those quick throws. I think a lot more wide receiver screens and dump offs, wheel routes, those kinds of things. They're going to have to figure out a way to evade pressure because with Norton and Pipkins, if those are the two starting tackles, there's going to be pressure on Herbert and it's going to be ugly. So I don't think the offenses were. I think the defensive shine here. But to be perfectly honest, if I'm rating defense for defense, 100%, I've got the Chargers way above the Chiefs. Everyone can tell me how good they've been,
especially with Chris Jones out.
Yes, exactly. Everyone keeps talking about, the last 6 games. The last 6 games have been so good. Who have they played in the last 6 games?
Yeah, and
they've played nobody. They played the best offense they've played that was healthy was the Broncos, and that was at Arrowhead. That's right. By the way, of the last 6 games, was it 5 of the last 6 have been at Arrowhead? So yeah, I'm sure they look great playing defense in Arrowhead at home. I think at SoFi on a Thursday night, I think this is going to be a different Chiefs defense. So I don't really fear the Chiefs defense. I fear more about our offensive line failing us more than the defense stopping us. So I really don't think this is going to be a blowout. I think this is going to be a lower scoring game than anybody
and this is
thinks.
why I think it's going to go into overtime, because I think it will go back and forth. I'm not saying it's going to be a big shootout, but going on to the Pipkins scenario, left tackle. Look, we've made adjustments over the last few weeks. Okay, we played our played variations of the nickel package on defense against the Giants. We've adjusted without Keenan Allen. I know we were leading the game against the Giants, but we closed that game out with Austin Eckler, and I do think that we're now going back to what we said at the beginning of this podcast. We've got the confidence to change things up and adapt during the game. So that's why I'm thinking that we'll overcome the hurdle and get a W in OT. Obviously, if we can do it before, that would be great. But the one thing that gives me hope as well, and I was looking at this when we played against the Bengals, Burrow wants to air the ball downfield as Mahomes does. Okay, and we're forced turnovers. Okay, and when we played against, it seems when we play against quarterbacks that are not able to make plays and extend the field with their arm, we're not able to sort of generate those turnovers and basically go after the pass. And I think this is again where we can excel, or at least capitalize on Mahomes, because he's going to make some deep shots. You got to guarantee that, especially if the Chiefs are trailing the game in the fourth quarter. And I just hope that our secondary can feast on that. And I think because forcing the turnovers, I think, is where we're going to win this game, which is, I think, what you're saying, John. The defense, you prefer, you've got more trust in the Chargers D than the Chiefs D. And yes, they have been playing better, but this is going to be a massive test for both teams, and it's going to come down to some nervy moments. We've got to cut out the crap with the penalties, and I know that's very, very difficult, especially with the officials flowing the flags like they do. But we've got to be disciplined. We've got to play this old cliche of a clean game. But we've done a lot of things right this season, and we've also shot ourselves in the foot. I mean, it wasn't great against the Giants in terms of red zone. I think we were 3 of 6, weren't we? Something like that. So there's still areas to clean up. But I just, with the momentum of this 2-game winning streak, and the thought of sitting at the top of the AFC West, I think we'll do it. I think we'll get over the line with a W. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
Well, I'll tell you what, if we win this game with Pipkins and Norton as our tackles, I will guarantee us a Super Bowl for you. How about that for boldness? I think it's much more likely that Melvin Ingram comes back and embarrasses us, as former players often do.
He's been playing brilliant. He's playing
half a sack in his last
Chiefs.
2 games, played angry. I think he will be the guy to benefit from even more playing time now Chris Jones isn't there. But I do think Rashawn Slater is, Chris Jones is absolutely phenomenal. He is the bread and butter of their defense. He's absolutely stellar. He drops out, but so does Rashawn Slater. It's a player for a player, but that still means they've got options to bring Ingram and rush him there and put pressure on. And I think, that will cause us problems. If we win, I reiterate, we will be Super Bowl favorites for me, and nothing will get in our way.
Wow, it's a big turn of events from we're going to get crushed by the Chiefs to, hey, we could win, and guess what? We'd be Super Bowl favorites at that point. That's a big swing right there. You're feeling it. You're coming in with some mustard, as I would say, because that is mustard yellow you're wearing there. All right, guys. Exciting game Thursday. We all think that there's a chance to win, but we all have our doubts. Slater's availability is a big deal. Jones's availability is a big deal. They said 34 positives, 37 positives yesterday. Adam Schefter says they're probably going to announce about 24 more today. So we're going to, this is an evolving situation. Not only do we not know if either of those 2 players are playing or not on Thursday, there could be more players deemed close contacts or who end up testing positive because of it. So, hold your breath. More than anything else, I want to see their best versus our best. There's nothing I hate more than when a key player or two is missing, and it's hard for you to say, well, yeah, you won, but blank wasn't there, right? Like it's tough to say. Like you can say, oh well, the Chiefs beat the Packers, yeah, but they beat Jordan Love and the Packers. Oh, the Chiefs beat the Cowboys. Yeah, but they beat the Cowboys without Amari Cooper or CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb went down early in that game, and Dak Prescott's not playing well, so you didn't really play their best, right? It's like when guys are missing, guys aren't playing. It's really hard to say, well, did you really beat that team, or did you just beat whoever was out there in front of you, right? So, a lot to be said. So, really hoping to see a good game this Thursday. Really hoping to see, a lot of healthy players on that team. So, given what we know now. And again, I know this is subject to change, but given what we know now, who we believe to be playing on Thursday, who do I want to start with? Do I want to be disappointed? Do I want to maybe feel a little more positive? Let's start with Mr. Bez the Spaniard. What is your prediction for Thursday?
35-27 to the Chiefs.
Okay. 35-27. Not bad. I mean, that seems
I got some
possible.
crackling in my ears.
35. Okay. Waz, come on. Pick me up. Come on. Give me something good. What do you got?
24-21 Bolts.
24. Oh, I like that. That's actually a lot closer to my line of thinking. 24-21. It felt right to me. This is going to be controversial, but I've got 2017 Bolts. I think low scoring. I think 2017. I think both offenses are going to struggle a little bit. I really do. I think both offenses are going to struggle. I think there's going to be multiple turnovers. I'm putting the over-under on turnovers at 4 for the game. I think it's actually going to be more than that. I think there's going to be 5 or more turnovers this game. I just think that the way this is, I can see both quarterbacks and both offenses really pushing to try to make that big play. Because I think early on, you're going to see a lot of short, quick passes, little dump offs, a lot of underneath stuff. I think both offenses are going to look like that early on. And I think it's going to get to the point where it's close and both offenses are going to say, you know what, we need to take the reins off and we need to go for it. And that's when the turnovers are going to happen. So I'm predicting that there's going to be at least like maybe 5 turnovers this game. And I'm predicting at least over half the turnovers happen in the second half. All right, so don't turn off the TV sets. I promise you, this is going to be a good game from start to finish. Anyone else with some final words before we go?
Yeah, I think it was interesting to hear Joey Bosa in the aftermath of the victory over the Giants speaking about Herbert saying he's now starting to have a voice in the locker room and people are listening to him. He's growing in stature, isn't he? He's coming towards the end of his sophomore season.
It's a hell of a slump, man. Hell of a slump.
Yeah, hell of a slump. Just that, I think that was positive, and let's hope Derwin James is back.
Yeah, let's hope. And
it's going to be massive.
It will. It would very big boost for us if we can get him on the field. I suppose my only final comment would be, Justin Jones, if he misses the game, would be a big miss because I don't know if he's been in close contact, going out in practice there. But can I just point out what a phenomenal player to come back? And was he not a Telesco 3rd round pick? He was there 3rd round pick for the Chargers. So maybe Telesco knows what he's doing in the 3rd round after all.
Yeah, I don't think so. Let's not forget he's had how many drafts now? How many 3rd round picks to hit on one of them? I mean, even a blind squirrel finds a nut sometimes. That's all I'm saying. So, anyways, we'll judge this after the season. But I think that we've got an exciting game on Thursday. I know you guys are both excited. I know at least Waz is staying up. Bez, I know you may or may not set up for that, and that's okay. It's okay. We don't blame you. We get it. We get it. When you're feeling so not confident, I don't blame you, but you're going to miss an amazing victory.
Friday's going to be rough for me.
It's going to be a rough. Honestly, though, you can just run off the victory fumes, right? Run off victory fumes. All right, Bolt fam, it's great to have you with us as always. We love having you tune into YouTube. We love having you listen to our podcast. If you've got questions or comments, please send them to us. And yes, as Michael Snow mentioned, we did not get a chance to talk about the Palmer breakout. That was nice. I think it really goes more towards my mention that, hey, I think they can get rid of that Mike Williams guy. He's junk. Who needs him? We've got Josh Palmer. We've got Keenan Allen. What else do we need? Okay. So I still say the Mike Williams call is better than the sophomore slump call. That's all I'm saying. Anyways, thank you, Bolt fan, for joining us. Enjoy the game on Thursday. We'll be back next week to break down the amazing Charger victory and what their path is to Super Bowl in LA this year. Bolt up, everybody.
Ho, 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 Herbert.